There is a number that changed software engineering. $165,000, base salary. Entry level, no experience required beyond the ability to reverse a binary tree on a whiteboard under pressure while a stranger watches you think. Google, Meta, Amazon, Apple, Netflix. The 5 companies that collectively employ 1.5 million people, generate $1.7 trillion in annual revenue, and have quietly become the most sought-after employers in the history of white-collar work. Not because the work is meaningful, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, because the compensation is extraordinary, the brand is permanent, and the exit opportunities are real in a way that makes every other career path feel like it's running at half speed. Here's what nobody tells you about getting in, staying in, and slowly becoming the institution you joined at 22 thinking you'd leave in 3 years. Level 1, the junior engineer, 22 years old, $190,000 total comp. You fixed a 1-character typo. It took 6 days. You studied for this interview for 6 months. LeetCode, code, every morning before class, every night after. Medium problems, hard problems, the specific category of graph traversal problem that shows up in Google interviews with statistical consistency that suggests either divine pattern or deliberate curriculum. You did 340 problems. You know this because you tracked them in a Notion doc that became its own form of anxiety management. The number going up meaning the fear going down, except the fear never actually went down, it just got more specific. 4 interview rounds, system design, behavioral, 2 coding sessions with engineers who were friendly in a way that didn't tell you anything about how you were doing. You got the offer. $165,000 base, $50,000 signing bonus, stock vesting over 4 years. Total first-year comp, $190,000. The number felt enormous until you divided it by San Francisco rent. $3,800 for a 1-bedroom, $2,600 for a room in a shared apartment with 3 other engineers who also just started at big tech and are also doing the math on whether this is actually as good as it sounds. The math works. It works less dramatically than the offer letter implied. Your first week, orientation with 500 other new engineers, all wearing the company hoodie they gave you on day 1, all pretending they're not terrified, all extremely good at pretending they're not terrified because getting here required performing competence under pressure for 6 months straight. You were all exceptionally well-trained at looking like you belong. You clone the repository. It has 150,000 files. Some of it was written by engineers who left before you were in high school. You spend 3 days setting up your development environment, something about Docker containers and internal build systems that don't work the way the documentation says they work because the documentation was last updated in 2019. Your first ticket is labeled easy. It is not easy. It is a 1-character typo that requires understanding why the character matters, which requires understanding the system it lives in, which requires understanding 3 other systems that interact with it. You fix it on day 6. Your commit gets 3 code review comments, 2 follow-up questions, and 1 suggestion to rename a variable. You rename the variable. Someone approves it. Your name is on the commit log. 10 other commits merged that same day. The machine processed you without pausing. Level 2, the mid-level engineer, 25 years old, $280,000 total comp, twice the responsibility, slightly more money, all of the on-call. The promotion happened without a meeting. Someone updated the org chart. You found out when your manager's calendar invites had mid-level check-in instead of junior check-in. That's how it works here. Good news arrives through metadata. $280,000 total comp. The number feels good until you calculate that you now have direct reports, project ownership, code review responsibilities, and an on-call rotation, and the comp increase was 47%. The responsibility increase was approximately 200%. This ratio is not discussed in the promotion conversation. You discover it through lived experience over the following quarter. On-call rotation. Every 5th week, you are the person whose phone goes off at 2 a.m. when something breaks in production. And things break in production. Not because the engineers are bad, because the systems are enormous and complex, and the intersection of enormous and complex produces failure modes that nobody predicted, specifically because they're at the intersection of enormous and complex. The 2 a.m. call happens in week 3 of your first on-call rotation. A service is throwing errors, 40,000 users affected. You get up, you open your laptop in the dark, you read logs, you find the issue. A config change deployed at 11 p.m. by an engineer in a different time zone who didn't realize their change had a dependency on your service. You roll it back. You write the incident report at 3:15 a.m. You go back to bed, you don't sleep. You lie there running through every other config dependency that could fail the same way. The on-call week is always the week you were supposed to work on the interesting project. The interesting project slides. The operational work expands to fill the time the interesting project vacated. You ask your tech lead if this gets better. She says it gets better at senior level. The senior engineers on your team make eye contact with each other when she says this. You notice, you don't ask about it. A startup in Seattle offers you a senior engineer title, 30% more equity, real ownership over a product. The company has 40 people. You know 3 of them from college. You decline. The brand is still working. The stock is starting to feel real. 2 more years minimum. This is the plan.
Level 3. The senior engineer, 28 years old. $360,000 total comp. Millions of users. 0 recognition. Visibility is the skill nobody taught you. Senior happened in the review cycle. Your skip-level manager told you before your direct manager. That's how these companies deliver promotions, through the hierarchy in reverse, so by the time it reaches you, it feels official rather than exciting. $360,000 total comp. You own a critical subsystem that powers a feature used by hundreds of millions of people. You think about this sometimes, that decisions you make on a Tuesday afternoon affect the experience of more people than live in most countries. Then you think about what you're having for lunch, and the thought passes. You make architectural decisions now, real ones with real consequences. When you're right, the system runs better and nobody notices because systems running well are invisible. When you're wrong, it takes 6 months and 4 engineers to fix, and there's an incident post-mortem with your name in it as the decision maker. The asymmetry of this, invisible success, visible failure, is the central psychological experience of senior engineering, and nobody in the interview process mentioned it. Here's the thing nobody tells you about senior level. The technical skill is now table stakes. The actual differentiating skill is visibility. Writing about your work, presenting at internal all-hands, getting your name on the decisions that get discussed in the rooms you're not in. The engineer who got promoted to staff last quarter shipped less than you. He wrote more about what he shipped. He presented at 3 internal tech talks. He was louder about his impact while you were generating it. You start writing about your work. It feels like bragging. Your manager says it's called visibility, and visibility is required for promotion. You say impact should speak for itself. Your manager says impact that nobody knows about doesn't exist in a performance review. Both things are true. The tension between them is the reason senior engineers stay at senior for an average of 3.2 years at Google, long enough to either figure out the visibility game or burn out trying to ignore it. Your significant other brings up the hours, not dramatically, as a logistical observation about the ratio of time spent at work versus time spent anywhere else. You say next quarter will be different. You have said this for 6 quarters. Next quarter is always busier than the previous one because the company is always growing, and growth means more systems, and more systems mean more decisions, and more decisions mean more of your time. The startup offer comes back. Chief engineering title, real architecture ownership. You interview, you like the team, the equity is real if they exit. You don't take it. You're not done here yet. You're not sure what done looks like, but you're not there. Level 4. The staff engineer, 31 years old, $420,000 total comp. You don't own systems anymore. You shape them. Nobody fully understands what that means. As a junior, you fixed bugs. As a mid-level, you shipped features. As a senior, you owned systems. As a staff engineer, you look at what 3 teams are building and say, these should connect differently. And then you write a document explaining why, and then you spend 6 months persuading people who don't report to you to change what they're building. And then maybe it happens and maybe it doesn't. And the outcome depends less on whether you're right and more on whether the right people read your document at the right moment. Influence without authority. That's the staff engineer job described accurately. You have no direct reports, you have no formal power over any decision, you have a reputation and a track record, and the ability to write clearly about complex systems, and those three things combined give you more actual influence over the company's technical direction than most directors who have formal authority over hundreds of engineers. The performance review system does something strange at this level. Your impact is measured across the organization, not within your team, which means a staff engineer who works on a foundational system used by 40 teams has more legible impact than a staff engineer who builds something brilliant that only 3 teams use. The system optimizes for breadth. Breadth optimizes for platform work. Platform work optimizes for the systems that already exist. You are structurally being rewarded for maintaining and extending the existing architecture rather than reimagining it. You have $1.2 million in unvested stock. The number is large enough that leaving means leaving money, not metaphorically, literally, and a calculable amount that appears on a spreadsheet your financial advisor updates quarterly. The golden handcuffs are not a metaphor at this level. They are a specific dollar amount that refreshes every year as new grants arrive and the old grants continue vesting. A venture-backed company wants you as your VP of engineering. $800,000 total comp, real equity, a seat at the leadership table. You interview, you think you could do it. You think about who you are without this company's name next to yours. The answer is unclear. You decline. 1 more year. You've been saying 1 more year for 3 years.
Level 5, the principal engineer, 36 years old, $650,000 total comp. You set technical strategy for 500 engineers. Most of them don't know your name. Principal is the level where the company and the person become difficult to separate. You write memos that propose technical directions for entire product areas. Some of them get adopted and become company policy and then become industry practice because the company is large enough that its internal decisions become external standards. You have shaped how distributed systems work at a scale that influenced how other companies build distributed systems. Papers have cited your internal design documents. This is genuinely extraordinary. It doesn't feel extraordinary. It feels like Tuesday. You no longer have a manager in any meaningful sense. You have a skip-level executive who has dinner with you quarterly and asks how you're doing. You say fine. You mean it. You are fine, purposeful, respected, technically engaged at the highest level. You are not sure if fine and happy are the same thing. You are not sure when you stopped examining the question closely. A growth stage fund wants you as CTO. $1.2 million base. Real carry on real deals. You'd shape the entire technical direction of a company that could become something. You interview over 3 weeks. You like the team. The problem is interesting. You think about who you are without the logo on your email signature. The answer is still unclear. You decline. You tell yourself it wasn't the right opportunity. You know you're not being fully honest with yourself. You stay. Level 6, the distinguished engineer. 47 years old, $1.3 million total comp. You've been here 19 years. You are the institutional memory. You are the company now, not a metaphor. Junior engineers learn your name from the systems they inherit. Your architectural decisions from 2014 are running in data centers on 4 continents. When those systems fail at scale, your name appears in the incident post-mortem as the original decision maker. You feel it personally, every time. $1.3 million last year, $1.1 million the year before, $1.5 million the year before that. The variance is larger than most people's total compensation. Your lifestyle stopped adjusting to it years ago. The money is real and present and no longer produces the response it produced when the numbers were smaller. This is called hedonic adaptation. It happens to everyone. It happens faster than anyone predicts. You speak at conferences about the future of distributed systems. You're interviewed by journalists. You sit on advisory boards. You know venture capitalists, CEOs, government officials who think about technology policy. You could leverage all of this. You could start something.
You could be the CTO somewhere that needs your credibility more than your day-to-day work. You haven't done it. You're not completely sure why. Maybe leaving means finding out the brand was the thing and not you. Maybe you already know that's partially true. Maybe staying is easier than discovering what's true. Your daughter texted you on your birthday. Your spouse sent flowers to the office, not home, the office, which tells you something about where they expect you to be on your birthday. Your son learned not to ask when you'd be home. You don't remember when he stopped asking. You remember noticing that he had. You built systems that billions of people use. They'll never know your name. You spent 19 years becoming a legend inside an institution. The institution will continue exactly as it is after you leave, which you know, which should bother you more than it does, which might be the clearest sign of how completely the machine has processed you.